Good afternoon, everybody. So, we are going to discuss block 13 of your curriculum, that is in the library with Matilda. So, basically, we have already done this is a revision class, so I'm not going in depth of everything, but we are just touching upon the topics. So, in the library with Matilda, this is a part of a novel which is written by Roald Dahl, and the name of the novel is Matilda. So this is the first chapter or the initial part of the story where we are being introduced by the character, a girl whose name is Matilda. So Matilda is the main character or the protagonist of the story. So in the library with Matilda, that means there is something going on in the library and it tells us about the character of this girl. So this is what is there in the entire chapter. So, before we move forward with this block, the first thing that we need to keep in mind is point of view. So, if you remember, we had done 3 point of views. The first one is the first person narrative. Point of view is basically uh, who is telling the story. Who is telling the story? Uh, for example, you are using the person's eye to view the characters available in the story. We have already done it. There is a A4 size sheet given to you which says who is telling the story. So basically here we are talking about the narrator. Here we are talking about the narrator of the story. So this is the first person narrator. First person is the first person point of view. The pronouns which tell us that the same person who is the main character is telling the story. I, my, we, our, me and us. The narrator speaks about himself or herself. Narrator is usually also the main character when we are talking about the first person narrative. The second person narration or the second person narrative is when we have a second person, you and your pronouns are used in the text. Uh, the narrator is speaking, or there is a kind of communication going on between the narrator and the reader of the text. This is rarely used. That means the frequency of using this kind of narration is quite less. The next is third person narrator. That means somebody who is not the part of the story. Suppose this is the story. We have this characters. There's somebody who is looking at the story from the outside perspective. He, the pronouns which are used in the text are he, she, it, they, his, her, their, etc. Narrator watches the story but is not a part of it. He or she speaks about other characters but not about himself or herself. So this is what we had talked about in the first part of the story. So when I say that understanding a story, what we need to understand in the story? The first thing that we need to understand in the story is the facts about the story. So facts about the story. How will we know the facts about the story? We'll know the facts about the story when we look at the story, read the story and knows what is right and what is wrong about the story. This is the first thing that we have to learn about it. Second is point of view. Who is telling the story? How is it different from the first person? What if the Matilda was telling the story? How was it different? So this can be used. Maybe we can give you a paragraph and ask you by reading the paragraph which kind of narration is there in that paragraph. So that could be one of the questions. Secondly, the second most important thing which we will be dealing with this story is understanding the characters. So basically in this part, we are going to talk about the main characters. as this is only the first chapter of the novel, so we have mainly two characters available here. One is Matilda and the other one is librarian. Also, we get a glimpse of Matilda's parents, that what were they doing at the time when Matilda was doing something else. In addition to that, we'll also talk about the feelings. So if you remember, we had done earlier the feeling words. Try to recall those feeling words. What are the feeling words? How do we denote a particular feeling? So just take that out and revise that for once. Third thing which we are going to deal in this block is grammar. Simple past tense and past continuous tense. So basically simple past tense and past continuous tense. For the time being, as a part of this video, oops, ma'am did a mistake. Continuous, the spellings are Continuous. So I missed this letter U here. So you please, my apologies for the spellings. Okay. So in this video, I'm not going to touch upon the grammar topic right now. I will deal with the grammar topic later or separately when I'm dealing with the grammar altogether. Okay, so we'll basically concentrate on these two pointers right now. Now, character understanding. I am not dealing with the first part in detail, that is understanding a story and narration, because we have done it in depth. Due to the workbook submission and everything, on your request, I'm doing this topic again. So we are going to think about it in the same class itself. Okay. So the first thing that we are going to do right now is character understanding. When I talk about the character means any human, animal, or thing in the story who can talk. Character is somebody who can talk, act, talk, act, and feel. So the most important element that we have for a character is to feel. Okay. And there's one more word which we'll come across is trait. We have physical traits. We have character traits. Trait is basically a quality. What is the meaning of the word trait? It is a quality. It is a quality. Now, what we are going to do in this category is we'll we'll search for certain words from the text which is given to us. So before I do that, let me explain you two things: physical traits and character traits. When I talk about physical trait, as it shows something which is outside is called physical trait, something which is inside is called character trait. How am I feeling? I might look a lady which has a fair complexion. She is her height is shorter, so you can describe me in this manner. But when I talk about my inner traits, that means how am I at heart? I'm strict, I'm firm, things like that. What you see with your eyes, you will use it in the physical trait. And what we learn based on the character says, does, thinks, and feel is called character trait. Okay, so we know the difference between the physical traits and the character traits. Now, we use words such as brave, independent, talented, passionate to describe Matilda. So we have used these certain words: fearless, gifted. These are the words which we have used. Now, I can ask you a question, and we have done it in the class. For example, I am using the word brave. Okay. So I understand that this is a word which is used for Matilda. Why am I saying that this is something brave? So we had discussed it. For example, Matilda walks to the public library when her father refuses to buy her a book. So she is just 4 plus, that means 4 years of age. Can you imagine yourself going to a library, selecting a book for yourself and reading it all alone? No, this requires a lot of courage. That is the reason we are calling Matilda a brave girl. In addition to that, we call her independent. We call her independent. Why is she independent? Because she refuses Mrs. Phillips. In order to find her a book, she said, I'll help myself, or I'm more comfortable, I can do it on my own. Then she's talented because she has read all the books available in the library. Then she's passionate. She has read Great Expectations. So if you remember, I have told you in the class, Expectation is a really long book. Okay, it is a bulky book. So maybe most of the adults, they struggle reading it or completing it. But she has done it. That means she is passionate about reading. Now, there are other things which we need to remember is, how is Matilda feeling at the beginning, middle, and end of the story. So if I say in the beginning, she feels confident and brave. She is confident. Why am I saying she's confident? हमें क्या पता है? What do we know about it? We know that she walks to the library. She gets a book and she starts reading it. She's confident enough that she can go to the library on her own. In the middle, she enjoys the book, right? She is happy in order to enjoy the book. At the end, she is quite satisfied, or she is happy about how she has felt. Now, brave, independent, passionate, and talented. I'm going to, in addition to this video, I'm going to send you a small picture of basically a mind map of how Matilda felt during the entire story. Lastly, uh, what do we need to do is, we need to remember certain facts about her. Matilda was brave enough to go to the library on her own. Usually when young children went to or want to visit a library, the parents accompany them. That means the parents go along with them. Since some parents don't have many free hours to sit with them in the library, the children do not get to spend a lot of time there, right? Because our parents are working, they have to go to office, they do not have a time to come with us to the library. And that is the reason most of us do not get time to go there. We usually visit our school libraries only. But Matilda was confident enough and she went to the library on her own. So that these are something, some events that we need to remember about this girl.